The FDI, inflow into any country is made of an aggregate of the inflow through the economic sector activities, and in the case of Nigeria, substantially the oil and gas, then into the manufacturing sector, which is the green areas as well as where you invest to add value. Then, of course, into the capital market, where people invest in the activities of the stock exchanges. In the case of Nigeria, we have seen actually growth up to 2008. We've seen the peak up to 2008 of somewhere in the neighborhood of about $12 billion. And then at the beginning of the financial crisis, it dropped to actually the average of 8 to 6 billion, which is currently what we have maintained over time. This has remained stable because largely of the policies that government have continued to protect. We have had very little instances where we had policy reversals, and even where the attempts were made, efforts were made actually to make sure that they had no impact on the streaming of the FDI into the economy. And much more than that, the global financial crisis have actually really added value to our effort, because it is very clear that the only continent that provides opportunities for investment is the African continent. And Nigeria, having the largest market, provide actually immediate opportunity for those enterprises that are having challenges in the developed economies.
Africa is entering an era of opportunity and growth, and many believe that this will change the continent and its people. What are the major sectors Nigeria is receiving investors?
I think substantial part of the resources that have been coming are actually to expand existing investments. We have seen enterprises like Nestle, Unilever, Cadbury and their likes actually reinvesting their dividends and profits, as well as seeing enterprises like Procter & Gamble that have been supplying their products directly from their offshore sources into the country, now making a decision to actually bring in capital in the neighborhood of hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to start the production locally, not only to make it cheaper, but also competitive, and then to be able to support the neighboring country economies who actually source substantial part of their requirements from Nigeria. So what is happening is actually we see more of expansion as investments within an existing enterprise, and then less of new investments coming.
Foreign direct investment in Africa is driven by foreign demand for resources and the desire to expand into new markets. What is the driving force for FDIs into Nigeria?
The first strategy on FDI by government is actually to remove completely the need to borrow. It's a substitute for actually having to borrow externally. Create the right environment, put in the right incentives, enhance the investment environment with all sorts of combination of incentives, as well as improvement in sectors like security, infrastructure and their likes. And then you get a lot of the FDI coming into that economy. But much more than that, I think we have seen even the infrastructure sector itself. So government actually is focusing on FDI because it saves it from having to, negotiate to borrow.
The Minister of Trade and Investment recently said that Nigeria remains the preferred FDI destination that no investor can afford to ignore. How do you assure an intending investor of this assertion, bearing in mind the security challenges faced by Nigeria today?
The security challenge actually is an indication of availability of potential areas of investment, because security challenge is normally linked to a social security problem, which directly has relationship to issue of job creation, which again has relationship to the size of the market that is there. Nigeria has a combination of deficiency in infrastructure, which invites those who have the resources to invest in actually enhancing the capacity of the existing infrastructure. And then the market provides ready terrain for those whose products actually are looking for markets, as well as the entire size of the country itself makes it, the only market available looking around other countries around us, the only market available that an investor actually can put in his resources and definitely not only get good return on investment, but certainly get a guaranteed market, and of course looking around at what has happened to other enterprises that have started small and have grown into mega enterprises just because of the huge opportunities that Nigeria provides.